Oh, see.
That would have been bad.
God, it's red.
It's red.
Good evening. Welcome to Concord TV, and this is our fiscal year 25-26 budget discussion. My name is Steve Amber. I am chairman of the board. And before we get underway, we want to do some brief introductions. I've already introduced myself. I'm going to go right to our right and introduce Josh.
Concord TV Executive Director Josh Hardy. Sounds like we have someone already on our remote call, but I'll pass it back over here.
Thank you, Josh. Rachel Perry, treasurer.
Dan Rich, Vice President.
Tanya Rochette, at large.
Jim Boulay.
Rich Finkelson, at large.
And then also on the call, if we could get our remote board members to just introduce themselves as well. Sorry, Mike. Our remote callers, if you could just identify yourselves. Yeah.
Sure. My name is Rob Altman.
And also Clint Cogswell on there as well. And then I believe Rob Kleiner is on the call as well. So there we go. We've named everyone. So we've done that much. Steve?
Okay, we've determined that a quorum is present so we can conduct business. And the first order of business would be to see if there are any public comment, anybody from the public who wishes to make a comment. And looking around, I don't see anybody from the public here. So we're going through the order of business, and the next step is to turn this over to Josh.
Thank you. All right. I'll try to keep this to about 17 minutes or so, probably less, hopefully less. I'm just going to provide some context. And Dan, you're the closest to the laptop. If we have to mute anyone, if there's too much background noise or anything like that, you're my guy for that. Okay. So this is our FY fiscal year 25-26 draft budget, which we'll be asking for you all to vote on tonight. Our fiscal year runs July 1st through June 30th of each year. In our contract with the City of Concord and the Concord School District, we are required to provide a copy of our next fiscal year budget. It says May 14th. I think it's by the 16th of every year. So after you approve this budget by tomorrow morning, I will email the city manager to say this was our board approved budget. Quick couple things about funding focus. That the City of Concord receives cable franchise revenues from Comcast and Breezeline, and we get a capital equipment grant through Comcast. The Breezeline capital equipment grant we do not receive. In its proposed FY 25-26 budget, the city has Concord TV receiving $280,000, and then the $52,500 in the Comcast equipment grant. You can find those figures in the City of Concord budget, I believe, on page 113. It's a longer read than the budget we put out there, that's for sure. And the last note about franchise fees, that the amount of franchise fees distributed from the city to public access station is negotiated on a local level. Do we know the background noise on the laptop? Who's the culprit? One of you three are the culprit. Oh, is it us?
It's us.
Oh, it's us. I was the culprit the whole time.
Just put it on.
Okay, it's going to be a 19-minute presentation now. Yeah. Okay. The cable franchise fees, I just have a primer on that on the screen, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. Just a quick primer to put up there. Couple media outlets reporting on industry trends of cable franchise fees going down. Really good coverage last year by the New Hampshire News Collaborative showing declining cable subscriptions since 2017. As this board knows and the public knows, the demand for our services has not gone down despite the revenue source dropping. If anything, our services are required more than ever. And then this scary looking chart showing Massachusetts cable subscriber counts from 2008 through 2023. I think the declines we're seeing in New Hampshire are not as steep. Also, that chart, the way that the y-axis, it's a little misleading because the bottom of the y-axis isn't 0. But needless to say, we're not gaining cable subscribers anywhere. Just a quick look of our available funds, our cash flow at Concord TV. That operational cash right now, we have $273,000 of cash on hand, which is about 10 months of operating expenses. Our equipment reserve specifically for capital purchases is just over $60,000. A quick look, I have a chart here of franchise fee revenue versus payroll expenses, just showing how really the key takeaway is that the city has been keeping us relatively flat with the franchise fees received, but our payroll, without us adding any staff, just continues to go up. What we basically have to pay our staff. Net revenues by year, you can see our net revenue during the COVID year in 2021, we had a positive net revenue that we were just, investing in the nonprofit. You can see that over the last couple of years has been dipping due to the increased expenses. And with that said, let me quick pop open we're seeing this on the fly here. Our proposed budget, I'm calling this version 2.1. There were a few changes during the last couple months of putting this together. Column G is really what we're looking at for what is being proposed, showing our revenues. And this is updated in the city budget. They're allocating roughly $282,000 in the cable franchise fees, and then the $52,500 in the Comcast equipment grant. So you can see our total revenue. Rob Kleiner at our last meeting had suggested we reformat this document to show the capital grant coming out from the revenue side. It's just easier to read, and for the public who are interested in seeing this, it's just easier to show our operating revenues aside from the capital equipment. Just showing you our expenses lines, our expected expenditures, and the biggest one, of course, is going to be our. I don't think that's me. That's me. That is.
Every time you touch it.
I'm not. Can we just turn the volume down on it a little bit? That would be great. Payroll expenses were projected to be at $248,000 this year, which is, we're just projecting a 5% increase from our actuals at this point. So we are looking at a net revenue of negative $20,000. As you saw from our cash flow and our net reserves, it's not like we are living as an organization paycheck to paycheck, but that's certainly not the trajectory that we would want to continue. Okay. All right. Couple takeaways from the proposed budget. Our largest expense lines: payroll, health insurance, business insurance, and then phone and internet. But obviously payroll is 70%. That's your significant chunk. Largest revenue line, the cable franchise fees are 91%. So that is, in terms of your diversifying, for some reason we're not full screen at the moment. That's okay. But you can see that for a nonprofit, it's not a very diversified revenue stream, that we've talked about other revenue sources, and I think we need to, really kick that into gear. Long-term outlook, I do want to just give a shout out and thank the City of Concord for at least continuing the ongoing funding we have, which gives us a chance to adapt as an organization. So we really appreciate the city for recognizing the value we provide. We do have to get creative with new revenue sources, or on the flip side, looking at cutting back on your expenditures, which would mean cutting back on payroll, which would mean reducing our staffing, which we really are operating at as razor thin as you can without cutting significant services. Our reserve funds work as a stopgap, but are not a long-term solution. With that said, I would be making a recommendation as your staff liaison, recommending that the board vote to approve the fiscal year 2025-26 budget as presented. Certainly, if you have any recommended amendments or changes, you could make those changes and still vote on that tonight. Any questions or thoughts on that?
I'd make a motion to approve.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? Then I will call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The budget is passed, the motion is passed. So thank you so much. The transparency is so important, so critical, and I think for those who are tuning in and watching us, and also the understanding of our position with the city, excellent way of demonstrating where we are at the moment.
Okay, thanks, Steve. And that is all I had for the board tonight.
All right.
Thank you.
There is no other business listed, but I will ask, is there any new business you wish to bring forward? If not, can I have a motion for adjournment, please?
I'll motion.
All right. Second?
Second.
Great. It's moved and seconded to close this meeting out. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and we appreciate your continued viewership.